My name is Rogier Huizenga. I'm a Dutch national. I work at the Inter-Parliamentary Union in Geneva, and I'm the head of the IPU's Human Rights Program. I studied law in the Netherlands, in Utrecht first of all, and then in Maastricht in the south of the Netherlands, with a focus on European law and human rights. My job is to help parliaments become active promoters of human rights. Because parliaments, they have to do everything to help citizens enjoy human rights better. And something that we also do a lot is, in fact, help individual members of parliament, protect them. Because what we see is that parliamentarians, individual parliamentarians who speak out in countries where there is no real democracy are at real risk. Sometimes they disappear, sometimes they're murdered, sometimes they are faced with legal proceedings in court and they can't defend themselves. So we try to help those people too. For me, the main reason is that I'm passionate about human rights. I think human rights is about protecting the individual, promoting universal values that are relevant to all cultures, and it's about the individual which really takes center stage, and making sure that we can all, as human beings, respect each other and enjoy our human rights. For this job, I think it is there are varieties of skills. You need to have good analytical skills because you have to understand very complex political and legal situations. You have to draft well, you have to be able to draft letters and correspondence well because there's quite a number of letters and emails that are drafted, and as the situations are often very politically sensitive, you have to be really precise and strike the right tone. And with that, what is important as well, you have to have diplomatic skills, which is important, and I would say people skills, because you do interact with a variety of actors. What I would say are positive aspects is that you get to see and know a lot about the world. Because we work here in Geneva, but we also travel a lot for work. So we get to meet lots of people in different countries. We get to see the situation in those countries for ourselves, which is very interesting, sometimes also very difficult because we see difficult realities. That is really one of the great things. What is sometimes also difficult, and that's this other side of the coin, is that as we work here in Geneva, it is sometimes difficult to always be constantly aware of those local realities, which we do get to see, but we also do spend a lot of time here in Geneva. So it's always a challenge to make these, bring these two things together. What is a great thing about working in an international organization in the IPU is that you are exposed to so many different cultures. Your colleagues are from different countries, from different continents, so that means a lot of interesting interactions, sometimes also difficult interactions because there may be misunderstandings, but it's very enriching. To give you one example of a project which I really liked is that in Sierra Leone, in West Africa, where there was a war that took place over a number of years, where people's limbs had been cut off by rebels in the course of the war, and where people had really suffered tremendous violations of human rights. The parliament, which represents the people, should be one of the main actors in society that brings the different factions and different segments of society together. So what we've tried to do after the war is to make sure that parliamentarians go and meet with citizens everywhere in the country. I can tell you Sierra Leone is not an easy country to travel, other than the capital, and for members of parliament to meet with different citizens and to explain to them why it is important for them to work together, and that in fact they show themselves that politicians can also work together, because when it was the time of war, of course at the highest level people were fighting with each other, and were not showing to Sierra Leoneans at large that it was important for them to also show the right example. Geneva is a bit of a special place in the sense that half of the population is made up of internationals. It's for that reason alone, I would say, really unique. But it's unique in that it is extremely enriching. Enriching in that it represents a number, that all different cultures are represented here in Geneva. But it's not just that. It's also that there is a real variety of organizations. There's the diplomatic community, there's the UN community, there are NGOs, and they all have something special to contribute. And I think that really makes Geneva special. If I were to give a tip, I would say try to really find out for yourself what you like best in your work. What are the subject areas that you are passionate about? And also try to identify for yourself how you would like to deal with those issues. Is it from a government perspective? Of course, that may mean that you would be much more at the helm of taking initiative, but it would also mean that you would have to be maybe more diplomatic. If you want to be part of the NGO community, you would maybe have fewer powers, but at the same time you would be able to speak out more loudly. So I think you would have to really find the right balance between the kind of person you are, the kind of issues that you are interested in, and to try to know that for yourself as soon as possible.